Dance with me, everybody. Russell, I want to see those
Welcome
moves.
to Read My Lips Radio,
Texas
a
dance.
lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives.
Kevin, come on.
Producer
You
and
see those
host,
shows.
aka
He's thinking
Radio
about
Red, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians,
my.
composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's AKA Radio Red.
Thank you to the voice of Ryan Treasure, who always brings me on the air. Yes, the show has changed. I've rebranded. We are the Creativity Show, which was always part of the name, but now it's front and center. We've been rebranded about 2 weeks ago, and we're getting lots of good feedback about that. I'm Radio Red. Happy to be here. Where else would I be on Monday? Tell me, everybody. Now, what I'd like to do is have my guests. I didn't prepare them for this, and this is the test. Let's see. Melanie and Russell and Kevin, I haven't introduced you yet, and I have a gift for each of you, but I want you to put up your fingers in the shape of the letter L. I don't care whether you're right-handed or left-handed. Melanie, let's see that L. There we go. And I want you to say on the count of three with me, hello, L, 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 just like that. 1, 2, 3. Hello,
Hello.
L,
L.
L,
L.
L. Jordan, you can mark them for a tie for first place. That was one of the best. Oh, Russell loves that. Kevin loves that. Melanie, she's not sure. Yeah, she's smiling. Okay, good. So, reason is that we have a most loyal listener, lovely, lanky Laura Legs.
Well.
She is still living in Whitestone, New York. And Russell, I've been trying to get her to move to a place. I'm in Loudon, Tennessee, and she just doesn't want to move to an L place. So, lovely, lanky Laura Legs. And I have to warn you, Melanie and Russell and Kevin, at around 6:01 p.m. today Eastern Time, she will email me. And she will tell me what you said on the show. It's like a mini book report. She's been doing it for years, and she's really, really good. So be careful. She'll love your opening quote. She'll love some of the things you say. So just so you know, that's why we say a shout out to her. Today is, my goodness, the 22nd of September. It's the 265th day of the 2025 Gregorian calendar. And I don't know if any of you know, but I know you weren't around, neither was I, that the Julian calendar kind of had an oops in October. Yeah, Russell knows. It missed a couple days in the second week of October. So if you had a birthday then, you really didn't get to celebrate it too often. So Gregorian came around and said, I can solve the problem. We'll have leap year, one day added every fourth year. And he did. And now everybody in October gets their birthdays, including me. Okay. Is anybody here a Virgo? Anybody? August 23rd to September 22nd, no Virgos. Okay, well, I'm a Libra. We'll just leave that one alone. So let's see. I have a couple of announcements here. Just bear with me today. Today, Joan Jett is 67 years old today. Anybody remember Joan Jett? Yes?
That's
Godmother
awful. I can't believe it.
Godmother of punk. Andre Bocelli, the Italian opera singer, has 15 solo albums, 3 greatest hits. He has 90 million sales of records around the world. He's 67. Could be the brother of Joan Jett. And anybody remember Chachi on Happy Days? Scott Baio is 65 today. And I want to tell you one more thing before we go. Today is September equinox, the first day of autumn. That means approximately equal days, equal hours of daylight and darkness. So there you go. It's also World Reflexology Week. Has anybody had reflexology done to their feet? Anybody? No? I have. Kevin, you've never? They have a map of your feet, and they massage you based on what part of the foot relates to which organs in your body. And it really works well. It's very soothing, and it helps. They use it for a lot of medical reasons. Okay, let's get started here. I have an introductory poem I'm going to read, and then I'm going to dedicate part of my opening to each of you. And when I call your name, I would really like you to smile or wave or do something so we're sure we know who you are. Welcome to the Creativity Show, where inspiration takes flight, aka Radio Red on her Scarlett Mic, live streaming bright on the truths of creativity. That's today's episode. Her panelists will share how life's winding journeys spark ideas with flair. Kevin D. St.Clergy, wave hello. Russell Little, wave hello. And Melanie P. Smith, she's back. Take the stage, revealing fresh insights that are sure to engage. No blah, blah, yada, yada here. Just discoveries true. An hour of wonder awaits each of you. Here we go. Kevin, it's your turn now. From Texas greens, where golf carts rolled, young Kevin heard success stories bold. Entrepreneurs shared the secrets they knew, but his parents' lost business helped shape his view. Kevin learned failures are not from lack of desire, but solving wrong problems with blame tinged fire. Studying books, masterminds, and coaching for years, Kevin built wisdom through triumphs, lessons through tears. From cart boy to caddy, bartender to pro, consultant, world traveler, always eager to grow. Kevin's book, Beyond Blind Blaming, clears hidden disguise, guiding leaders to breakthroughs and to working wise. Kevin, I hope you like that.
I didn't like it. I loved it.
I'm,
Thank
gl-
you.
you're
Awesome.
welcome. These are my gifts to each of you. Russell is next. From Amarillo roots in a blue collar land, Russell faced learning struggles few could withstand. Though teachers doubted and his hurdles were tall, he rose as class president, defying it all. 5 schools behind him, yet Russell claimed the prize. Texas Tech valedictorian to everyone's surprise. Then Texas law, where his brilliance would show, top of his class and bar scores that glow. For 41 years, Russell fought in the courts, divorces and defenses in relentless reports. Now his thrillers bring readers suspense to explore. Murder for me and murder by storm leave them hungry for more. Russell, how'd I do?
I'm kind of speechless.
Good.
Can I get a copy of that?
I'll send you a clip of me reading it. I don't give out the
I
text.
love it.
There you go. I can do that for all of you. And Melanie is next. I'm so happy to see you again, Melanie. From Utah's wide fields where farm kids would play, Melanie worked hard, then chased fun each day. With horses and softball on water, she'd glide. I'm all choked up here. Adventure and duty both walked side by side. Her studies advanced with 3 degrees in her hand. Business and conflict, Melanie learned to command. At 20, she entered the sheriff's wide door and served in special ops for decades and more. From SWAT to K-9 to rescues at night, Melanie brought order and courage to crisis and fight. Her more than 30 novels regale with suspense running deep and realism crafted from the secrets she keeps. On Harley or ATV, Melanie still seeks the thrill, exploring new back roads with her wanderer's will. How'd you like that, Melanie?
Sounds great.
I'm glad. Here we go. So gather round with us where the cool vibes sway as we dive deep into creativity. Yes, right now, today, aka Radio Red's energy. That's me, lights the way. We hope to inspire you to live large, love life, and play. And that was my gift to all of you. Anybody still talking to me? Yes.
It was
I'm
a
here.
great gift.
I didn't jump off yet.
I'm glad. I'm good. Oh, good. Stick around for a while. We got more to go here. So, what I'd like to do now, before we get to the opening quotes, is I'd like to give you each about 3 minutes to tell me what would you like to emphasize or what did I miss in the opening? Because taking a whole life, you each sent me your origin stories. I don't do bios or CVs anymore. It's got to be origin. If there's anything I missed that you would like to highlight, take a couple minutes to share a little more with us. So, Kevin St.Clergy, I'm so happy to see you. I met you at the National Publicity Summit several months ago, and here you are. I know you have your own podcast. So, Kevin, I'm putting you on speaker view. Officially welcome to the Creativity Show. And why don't you tell us a little bit more? Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I love your show. I've listened to
Thank
several episodes already. Amazing. I love the new name too, by the way.
Thank you.
So yeah, I think the only thing you left out was just that these days I have a real passion for helping people find a problem that they don't know they have. We're trying to help 100 million people discover the root cause of a problem they can't seem to fix. And if we do so, then we're going to not only create a ripple effect in their life and their business, but I think we'll have a positive effect on society as a whole.
That would be a very nice thing. We're ready for positive effects in every way, everywhere, everything we do. Thank you, Kevin. Let's go to Russell Little. Russell, anything you'd like to add to your bio for us?
I guess the only weird thing that I want to add to that bio, because that was perfect. I could never say all those things about myself and make them sound so nice.
Aw.
But, I've written out 4 or 5 hurricanes. That's something you do if you live on the Gulf Coast of Texas. And I've actually put that in my book. And I actually meant to put it in my book to, create tension. But when during the last Hurricane Harvey, I saw so much beautiful humanity of people, strangers risking their lives to help other strangers. Even though I was in a hurricane for 5 days, it was one of the greatest moments of my life because it changed my life. the inspiringness of seeing people risk their lives for strangers and being, inspired to help people too, like that.
That's lovely. Thank you for adding that. That's very, very interesting. Yes, we don't often see that. I'm going to use an old phrase, the silver lining, right in the storm cloud. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Melanie P. Smith is back. I met you a couple years ago through our mutual friend, and Russell knows him as well, Mickey Mickelson from Creative Edge PR. And Melanie, he said, Melanie wants to come back. And I said, fine, I'd love to see her. So, Melanie, I'm putting you on speaker view. Is there anything else you want to tell us?
I can't think of anything. I think he did a great job with the intro. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything you left out.
Okay, I'm going to ask you. I looked on your website and I counted about more than 30 books. Was I right on that number? How many have you got?
You are pretty close. I haven't counted them recently. Some of those books are short stories, but my short stories are at least 150 pages, so some people call them novels. So I think you're pretty accurate.
I'm still working on my novella and it's going to be about 150 pages and I'm calling it a novella. So there you go.
Yeah,
It's
so
a lot of little stories blended into one big, it's a semi-thriller. It's an almost murder sassy. Well, we'll just leave it at that. Melanie, you want to drop the names of one or two of your favorite characters you've written about?
they're like kids. I can't pick a favorite character. So
Okay.
uh
All
I
right.
have my Paige Carter series is one that seems to be popular with my readers. That's a female police officer. Her name is Paige Carter, so I'll just drop that one.
Is she modeled on your experience as a law enforcement person?
Not exactly. I've been told by people that know me that my character comes through in her,
Hmm.
but I didn't do that intentionally. I think
Okay.
as a writer, that's probably unavoidable. Your characteristics of yourself is going to come through in your writing.
There you go. Thank you very much. Thank you all for enjoying my intros. Let's go to the part of the show where I've asked each of you to please send me a fictional quote from a fictional character in a fictional movie or TV show or a song lyric. And I'll read the quote with a little bit of background, and I'd like you to explain what it has to do with your own creativity. So Kevin has sent a quote from Marquis de Gramont. I'm going to say that the French way, Kevin, played by Bill Skarsgård. The movie, of course, is John Wick Chapter 4. This is a 2023 neo-noir action thriller film. Keanu Reeves, of course, returns again as John Wick, and the Marquis Vincent Bisset de Gramont, aka the Marquis, is the primary antagonist, a French crime lord, a powerful emissary of the High Table, appointed to reassert its authority after the death of the elder. He is arrogant, he is a sadist, he has ambitions to become a legend, and he wants to eliminate John Wick and anyone who helps him out. And here is the quote. How you do anything is how you do everything. What an interesting quote. I never expected that from a movie like that. Russell saying, where did he find that one? Kevin, I'm putting you back on speaker view. Would you please spend a couple minutes and tell us what this has to do with your creativity? Go ahead.
Yeah, I actually heard it in a pool with a very successful person who had a multi-billion-dollar business where I was living in Austin. And he said it, and I never forgot it. This was about 15 years ago, way before the movie. And I actually have. I wish I could show you, but I have. It's a sign I look at every day. It's in my little kitchenette. So when I sit down and I look, or I go get a drink, it says there. It's on the wall. How you do anything is how you do everything. And when I heard it, it really made me think because at the time, I have a bad habit of throwing myself into my business and ignoring everything else because it's what I absolutely love to do. And it just got me thinking, well, gosh, if you don't have good relationships at home, you can't really be as successful as you want to be. Because to me now that I'm 53 years old, I've actually figured out that true wealth comes when you have things money can't buy. And so, how you do anything is how you do everything has helped me lose 40 pounds over the last year. It has helped me have a wonderful relationship with a girlfriend who's 43 years old and has 5 grandkids and 4 adult children, which is
That's
crazy. So, I was
awesome.
single for 10 years. So, my life has gone from 0 to 100 miles an hour. And we all know you can't jump off a train going 100 miles an hour, but I'm in. It has its moments, but it's really weird because it's like the grandkids are here, they're driving you nuts. Like, when do they leave? And 5 minutes after they leave, you're like, okay, when are they coming back? Because I miss them already. It's just, it messes with my head and I don't know what I'm doing. But how you do anything is how you do everything has helped me get my life in order. But I think it's actually made me a better coach and a better person.
Thank you. That was lovely. And by the way, you said don't jump off a train. I'd say with the train you've got, stay on the train. It sounds like a lot
So
of
far,
fun.
so good.
Sounds like a lot of fun. You're a very brave soul, and you must love her a lot to love her
I
family as
do.
well. So, you want to do a shout out to her with her first
I
name?
do. I love you, Jen. Thank you for everything
Okay.
you've done for me. You finally giving me something money can't buy.
Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, no, the show has to go on. Sorry about that. You just stopped me there. Okay, Russell, I'm looking at your quote. This is said by Maximus Decimus Meridius. These are a lot of interesting names to pronounce. Played by who else? Russell Crowe. The movie is Gladiator, 2000 epic historical drama film directed by Ridley Scott. My goodness gracious. The cast includes Russell Crowe, Joachim, I always forget how to pronounce his name, Phoenix, all kinds, Derek Jacobi, Richard Harris. What a cast. Crowe portrays Meridius, a Roman general who's betrayed when Commodus, the ambitious son of Emperor Marcus Aurelius, boy, I'm getting the S's here, murders his father and seizes the throne. Sounds similar to what we just talked about in the other movie. Reduced to slavery, Maximus becomes a gladiator and rises through the ranks of the arena, determined to avenge the murders of his family and the emperor. Interestingly enough, this movie grossed $465.5 million worldwide, the second highest grossing film of 2000. It won 5 Oscars: Best Picture, Best Actor, considered one of the most influential films of the 21st century. My goodness. Here's the quote Russell has picked. Death smiles at us. All a man can do is smile back. Russell, I need to see you smiling right now.
I'm happy.
There you go. Okay, I'm putting you back on speaker view. Tell us, what does this mean to your creativity, Russell?
Well, I'm really a follower of Marcus Aurelius, and this is an interpretation of what he wrote. And what it says is uh, don't put time off. Live like you're you're as good as dead and squeeze all the juice you can out of life. And I've actually lived my whole life that way, trying to squeeze every bit of juice out of life. And can I say, Kevin's answer was superior to anything I could say. Kevin, that was spectacular.
Thank you. I think you did a pretty darn good job yourself, but thank
I
you. I
I think the
appreciate that.
hurricane story was pretty good in there too, Russell. Russell, has anybody told you that you could be, I think, anybody see if you agree with me, a doppelganger for the actor Kevin Pollak? Does he look like Kevin Pollak? Melanie, do you see it? Or Kevin a little
Oh,
bit?
yeah.
Little bit. Yeah. And
I
that's
don't I don't
that's
have enough hair.
well, whatever you used to have, you still look like him. So yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to before I get in more trouble, I'm going to go to Melanie's quote. Melanie has sent a quote from, oh, these are such iconic films. Professor Albus Dumbledore, the late headmaster of Hogwarts, played by Michael Gambon, to Harry, speaking to Harry Potter, played by Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter in the Deathly Hallows Part 2. It's a 2011 fantasy film directed by David Yates, the second of 2 cinematic parts based on the 2007 novel Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by who else? J.K. Rowling, and the seventh and final installment of the Harry Potter film series. Concludes Harry Potter's quest to find and destroy Lord Voldemort's Horcruxes. I'm just not saying that right. Horcruxes, in order to stop him once and for all. It claimed the worldwide opening weekend record, earning $483.2 million, setting opening day and opening weekend records in many countries. It grossed over $1.3 billion, becoming the third highest grossing film and the highest grossing of 2011. Oh my goodness gracious. Here's the quote Melanie has picked. Of course it is happening inside your head, Harry, but why on earth should that mean it is not real? That's interesting. Melanie, what does this have to do with your creativity, please?
People ask me why I write, and I jokingly tell them I do it just to justify all those voices in my head. So when I heard that, I thought that is the perfect quote for my writing because when I write a story, it's kind of almost like a movie in my head. Um, so just because it's in my head, it doesn't mean it's not real. I just have to put it down on paper.
Do your characters talk to you? Do they tell you what they want to look like, what they want to sound like, what they want to say, Melanie?
Yes, very much so. When I very first started writing, I thought, because I'm a very organized person, I thought I would be a really big plotter and sit down and just plot everything out. So I started making an outline of what was going to happen in my story, and my characters said, "No way, that's not going to happen." And they went a completely different direction. And that was the last time I did that. I just jot down little notes about what they look like in my head, but I just write the story.
There you go. I wrote three romantic comedy plays, actually three. One I did twice with a different ending and different actors about 10 years ago and produced them at my TV studio in Long Island, New York when I lived there. And I will tell you that I wrote them from 1 o'clock till 4 o'clock in the morning. In 3 nights, the first play was done. The characters just told me who they were, what they looked like, what they wanted to say, what their mood was, what their relationship was about. And I just kept typing. That was it. There was no thinking about it. They just said, "This is who we are," and just make it happen. And I did. And then I had the privilege of bringing in some community actors who did it on a volunteer basis, and I had to coach them and see what they did with my characters, Melanie. That's very interesting to see how the characters come to life through an act. These were actors who mostly did community theater all over Long Island. They were experienced. They weren't just off the street, oh, I think I want to act. They knew how to read a script. So we set up monitors, teleprompters in the studio because I couldn't make them memorize it because they were doing so many plays other places. I said, no work is required. Just show up, green screen, sitting on a box in an empty studio with a green curtain behind them, and we projected all of the scenery over them, around them. But it was such a privilege seeing the characters that were in my head, Melanie, come to life through human actors and recording. And I can send you all the links if you want to see them. They're 26 minutes long, and I have them on Vimeo. So if you'd like to see them, I'll send you the links after. But thank you for that. Thank you all for the very interesting quotes. And I love the iconic movies you have all picked. So let's go on now. We're going to talk about your creativity statements. I asked you each to send 4, and I'm going to pick one at a time, whatever I would like to talk about. And I'm going to ask you to, shall we say, unpack, like they do on a news show, unpack it. And then I'd like to go around the table and see if anybody has anything to say. So here's how it works. Very simple. Kevin, I'm going to pick one of your statements. I've already got it selected. I will read it. You don't have to find it. Embellish it, enhance it, unpack it, whatever you want to say. It's about your creativity, and you have some good ones in here. And then Russell and Melanie, if you have anything to say, I'd rather you volunteer rather than me. Okay, Russell, what do you want to say? I don't want to pick on you, but I think you each have 10 fingers. I could make all kinds of things happen with balloons here and confetti and everything. There we go. We got the balloons. Okay, that's good. But I would like you to remember, I will respond to any finger except the middle one. So one of your nice fingers, just wiggle the finger and I will see you. Kevin, I'm the green room warm-up comedian and I try to be funny on the show once in a
Pretty
while.
good.
I used to do stand-up and now I just try to be funny sitting down. Okay, so I'm going to read Kevin's statement number 2. This is interesting. You said, for me, I'm quoting Kevin, creativity is chasing ideas that show up uninvited. Usually when I'm busy doing something else, like walking 15,500 steps a day. Ideas like content or video ideas. And then Kevin adds, with Meta sunglasses, you can shoot your ideas for videos on the spot, on a walk, in the car, anywhere. So let's talk about, we'll call this modern creativity. Kevin, tell us more, please. This is interesting.
Well, I love it. Well, I guess I'll start with when I walked on fire with Tony Robbins. So I went to one of his events and he said something I'll always remember. He says, look, there's only one way to instantly change your state. And let's face it, we all have bad days. We all have things that happen to us that we can't control. But he's like, look, if you want to change your state, there's one thing you can do immediately, and it is move. And so it really stuck in my head. And then as I started going down this healthcare journey to, get more healthy, stop taking medicine, things like that, my trainer was like, look, if you just start walking, that's your big thing, which sucks because I have a garage mall. I have a 3,000 square feet garage where I bought all this fancy equipment. All I really needed was a treadmill and some weights. And when I started walking, though, I started noticing some of my best ideas were coming when I was walking. And we slowly got, the 15,500 is what we do now. We started off at 5, 10. We worked our way up there, but that's where some of my best ideas come from. And then I got these Meta glasses where now, because I'm an influencer and I've got a new book out, I'm having to shoot videos, and some of my best videos are coming from when I'm actually out there walking. Or they call them walk and talk videos, which blow me away that my team is like, look, you need to do more walk and talk videos. I'm like, what the heck are those things? It's where you're actually sitting there walking, and they usually use the ones where I walk into a wall or something like that. But that's where some of my best ideas come from, because I think it finally pushes you into a position where even though I have my Meta glasses on, I turn my phone off and I go for a walk. I don't even listen to music. I listen to nature. I'm very quiet. And I think we have to unplug If we really want great ideas to come to us, we have to unplug and we have to move. So that's my message for everyone today. And it sparked my
Interesting.
creativity like crazy.
Interesting. Melanie or Russell, any thoughts? Russell, go. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you explain a little bit more about your meta glasses?
Yes. Good point. I was going to
I'm
Oh,
ask.
sure.
interested in you. Tell us more
Yeah, I
about
just
that.
discovered them. I wish I had them. They're in here somewhere. But they are glasses that Facebook developed. It's got AI built into the glasses, and you can talk to it, so it's you don't have to really think about it. But if you're out there and you say, "Hey Meta, take a picture," it'll take a picture. Hey Meta, add this to my video idea list. It will do it for you. You don't even have to think about it. Because I mean, what happens? I know that some of us, if you think about it, when we have a great idea, it could be in the shower, it could be when we're going to sleep. And then if we don't write it down, 3 months go by and you're like, oh crap, I never did that. The Meta glasses, they're like $329. They're coming out with some really expensive ones, but anybody can get them. They're sunglasses, and you can actually have regular glasses made for those of us who still need readers. Yep. So I like the sunglasses because usually when I'm outside, I like to walk outside. I try to do at least 30 minutes to an hour a day when it's not brutally hot out here. But I do have those glasses on when I go for a walk, and that's where you get.
Thank
So they're
you.
Meta
Very
glasses. You can get them any store online. To me, they're not that much of an investment. I know they're expensive for sunglasses. Don't
Yeah.
lose them.
Don't lose
But
them. Thank you. Very interesting. I read about those recently. Yes, and we talk often on this show in the creativity mode, Kevin and everybody, about what do you do with those ideas that come in the middle of the night or when you're taking a run or when you're in the shower or how do you write them? How do you record them? And some people use a recorder on their phone, or, the voice memo. And some people, I sometimes put something into a calendar note for myself. I'll say tomorrow at 10 o'clock, read this paper or prepare for this show. I'll make appointments with myself to do that. And if it's in the middle of the night, I don't know, you just write a note to yourself or take a picture of your foot and say, well, that'll some kind of association.
can I give
Mel,
one more
yeah,
suggestion?
yeah, go ahead, go
Dave?
ahead.
Just real quick. I don't want to take over the show,
That's
but
okay.
something I discovered on Alexa. So most of us have Alexa in our lives. My
Hmm.
girlfriend, she fights with Alexa all the time, but that's another day. Um, I can be funny sometimes too. But I figured out on Alexa, if you say, "Hey Alexa, remind me at 8 o'clock on Monday to do this,"
Yep.
you can program Alexa to send you a text message. And since we all have our precious cell phones with us at all times, and we never even leave the house, although I can remember leaving the house and not freaking the f out when I didn't have my cell phone. But that I think has made me not forget as much as I
Yep.
usually do. Hey Alexa, remind me at 8 o'clock on Monday. It sends you a text message. You're always checking your phones.
I didn't
But
know she sent text message. I'll ask her to set a reminder, set an alarm, and I hear
yep,
doo, doo, doo,
it's in the
doo.
settings. You go into the settings of Alexa, and you can actually just click a button that says "Send me a text" to remind me to.
Thank
It's
you.
so cool.
Interesting. Melanie wants to say something. Melanie, join us.
Well, I was just going to say that my method is still old school handwritten. Um, but when he keeps saying, move. I can't remember exactly how he put that, but move. Um, I keep thinking of photography because that is a huge thing in photography. If you're not getting the right picture, the right landscape, the right point of view, move your feet. That's kind of the thing. And I do photography a lot for, I help produce a magazine. So I do photography a lot to do uh, book covers and things in the magazine. And it reminded me of that. That's a concept of creativity. I think no matter what you're doing, photography, writing, or
Move,
just in life, move. Just
move.
move your feet.
Isn't that interesting? I hadn't heard that. This is an interesting theme that has not come up before. And I'll just give you all a little comment here. Sometimes I want a casual background for my Zoom meetings. I never just show my room. It's just not what I do. So I will, if I wake up and I see a particular ray of sunshine coming through the bedroom window or the living room window, I'll take a picture. Or if there's something sparkling, a web on one of the trees outside with a little bit of dew on it, I'll take a picture and I load them into my Zoom and I use them for casual backgrounds. So my backgrounds could be my dining room table with some plants on it with the flower boxes outside and people think I'm sitting at the table in the dining room. But it's just a picture. It's just a virtual background. So that's a way that I keep a list. I keep a whole folder of what I call casual backgrounds so that I always have something interesting behind me. And It's a conversation point, isn't it, Melanie? It's always
Yes, it is.
always a conversation point. I want to move on. Thank you, Kevin. That was a great starter. Let's go to Russell. Russell, I'm going to read a couple of your statements here because they go together nicely. You say, I write every day, Monday through Friday, to classic Italian opera. I write at my dining room table starting at 5 a.m. so no one bothers me. And I follow Hemingway's advice. Stop your day's writing when you already know the next sentence. That should pique Melanie's interest there. Okay, Russell, tell us a little bit more. What is it like in your dining room table at 5 a.m.? How quiet is it? And are you playing opera at 5 a.m.? I want to
I
know.
play Verdi.
You play what?
Verdi.
Oh,
It's
Verdi. Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
it's he's a old composer. He's my favorite Italian composer. I, I play in my headphones because if I wake my wife, I will pay a heavy price. So I have to uh I get up before 5. I take the dog for a quick walk. Then she goes back to sleep, and I write till my wife gets up, and then we have coffee by the fireplace until she goes to work. And uh, then it depends upon how many words I was able to get. And the Hemingway quote is very important to me because I have to deal with a lot of blocks, and the way I've uh, been able to avoid writer's block is by knowing the next sentence for the next day and obsessing about it all day long because then I'm ready to go the next day. If I don't do that, I pay for it the next day. And there's another quote by Hemingway that if you are blocked, try one true word, then another, then there you go. So
Interesting. Tell us a
those are
little
the
about your books, Russell. Tell us a little bit about what you're writing these days. What are you up to?
I write like psycho murder thrillers, right? Because I practiced law for 40 years. And this is true for all of us. We meet a very few people that are unlike anyone else in their life. And I've met a few of those. And during my life, when I've come across these people, I've thought, this is somebody I want to write about someday.
Mm.
And so I've assembled these people and I write about. And it just so happens that this particular group of characters that I write about happen to fit perfectly into a murder thriller. And that's who I write about. And
Interesting.
it's both the intense ones and the comical because you got to put comical relief in any book. And so I have and this interests me what you said earlier about your inspector, your deputy character, because I actually have one too, OC Sims, who is both the protagonist and a comical relief at the same time, because he has all these weird features that I've come across that I've put in this person. And see, I refer to it as a person, not a character, because we live with these people and they become parts of us, right?
Yes.
Like he has a mustache that moves independently to the rest of his face when he's talking. It's the strangest thing in the world. And when I came across this on someone, I couldn't stop looking at their mustache that moved like a caterpillar, different than the rest of the face when they were talking. And that's something you got to write about, right? That's
Exactly.
that's inspiration,
That
right?
is
That weird
inspiration.
mustache,
I'm so glad
or
I asked you.
yeah, I can
Right.
see it.
I love it.
And so, and with this same character, tell me when to stop talking because I don't want to take over anyway because the Kevin and Melanie are so interesting. But uh, like the weird thing in Houston, and I just moved back to Houston from Georgia for the very reason Kevin talks about, because this is where all my children and grandchildren are. And I needed to get back to be in the same city as they are.
There you
So
go.
that's why I thought what he said was so important.
Thank
But
you.
uh, there's a whole subset of men in Houston, Texas that wear cowboy boots all the time, even in the summer. It's the strangest thing to me. And I'm a lifelong Texan, but to me, that's strange, except for I've lived around it. So I've put that in one of my characters because I just think in the middle of the summer and someone walks into a courthouse in big black boots, it looks hot. They always say,
Russell,
no, this
Russell, you need to do it. You need to have a stand-up routine. You've already just done about a 10-minute routine. Go ahead, finish because I want to go around the table. Go ahead.
I'm a little touchy about stand-up routines because my son started doing stand-up routine and his father is the main point of his jokes.
Oh,
So
oh,
I'm just saying, I don't want to talk about
there you
that.
go. And by the way, I forgot that the sun is going to come in and flame me out basically here.
Oh, you
I
look
can't, I'm
great.
not going to get up and move. So you're going to see me going through various light shades here, and I'm just going to leave it alone today. It's just the way I can't even see. Oh, it's all right. We got 20 minutes. I should be fine. So if I kind of disappear, you'll know I'm still here. Very interesting. Melanie, you were laughing. Kevin was laughing. Anybody want to make any comments back to Russell about how he's inspired for at least for comedy through his characters? What do you think, Kevin? Melanie?
You made me think of, I dated a Ukrainian woman for a while, and she just would look at me sometimes and go, "Sometimes you're not funny." Just like that. She didn't understand sarcasm. So it was like, oh man, and her friends were like, "Sometimes you're not funny. That's awesome." I'm like, yeah, I get it. But you are funny, Russell. And I don't care if your son uses you. I don't care what your son says. I think you're all right.
You are. Melanie, any comments about the inspiration about the boots and the mustache? I thought you were hysterical with the mustache.
No, but I can relate to Kevin because my husband tells me that if I'm sarcastic, he'll say, I know you think you're funny, but you're not funny. And I tell him, yes, I am. You just don't get my humor.
Oh my
I
goodness.
get it. Yeah.
I'm going to move on to Melanie's statements here. Thank you, Russell. That was very, very interesting. Melanie, I think you already said you're definitely a pantser. And in case either one of the other guests doesn't know, a pantser versus a plotter. Pantser writes by the seat of their pants. A plotter outlines and lists everything out and knows what they're going to do next, and then can go into chapter 4 because they already know where they want to go with it and then everything. So, Melanie, I'm going to go to your statement number 4. This is interesting. We're talking about basically inspirations. You say the simplest things can spark the most interesting stories. And I think Russell just proved that. Melanie says, I was headed home from a SWAT call out in the early morning hours after a particularly long and exhausting day. My mind began to wander as I traveled the nearly empty streets. I see here the making of a thriller in here, Melanie. And the opening scene of my first published novel began to unfold. So I tell you what, I'm going to put you on speaker view and I'm going to run and close the blinds because I can't see anything anymore and I got to see. So Melanie, you take over for just about 2 minutes and I'll be right back. Go ahead.
So I worked in the special operations division of our local sheriff's office, and I would get called out on SWAT call outs, and I would run the radio and do logistics for our SWAT team. So frequently, our call outs would happen late at night into the early hours of the day. So I spent a lot of time driving at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, heading home. And as you might imagine, they're high stress, high adrenaline situations. So as I was driving home, kind of trying to wind down at the early morning hours, that's when my imagination would kind of wander. And I was driving home and I just kept having this idea, this visual of my character in my it's a paranormal romance series. The opening scene is she is in the back of a taxi driving over a bridge, just hearing the thump thump as she's driving over the bridge on her way to the hospital to see her uh, stepfather who has been attacked and is dying. And so it's just I don't really know what it was about that drive home that day, but I just kept imagining this, the thump thump as you go over the bridge, as you're going over the
Was it a
breaks in the
drawbridge or
bridge. Yeah,
yeah.
the breaks in the bridge.
Yeah.
It just kept coming to me. And then the next day on my way home from work, the same thing. I just kept having this opening scene come to mind. And that's what made me decide I'm going to start writing for fun again, see where this goes. And that it was, I wrote the first book pretty quickly. Went into the second book. It ended up being a 7-book series, and I actually wrote the first 3 books probably in 4 months
Wow.
because the idea just came so quickly. And I really don't know what it was that triggered that on that morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, driving home, no traffic on my way home from this SWAT call out. I just had this character in my head that wouldn't go away.
They use us. We channel them, they channel us. I
Yep.
appreciate that. I told you that's what happened. When I wrote my plays, I didn't know how to write a play. So I went online, this was about 10 years ago, and I looked for playwriting 101. And Kevin, I found a website that had a downloadable, wasn't a PDF, was a Word document. And it said, this is the font, this is the spacing, the letting between lines. This is where you describe the scene, the introduction to each character, curtain up, curtain down, the whole thing. And I just downloaded it and I just started writing. Melanie, I just filled in the blanks and my characters were just there. They were just there. And it was so much fun to welcome them. That sounds kind of interesting, but it was so much fun to welcome them. Uh, Talking about scenes and inspirations, Russell or Kevin, anything you want to add to? Yeah, Russell, go ahead
Yeah.
first.
Okay, well, I find it amazing that she is creative post massive adrenaline rush.
Ah,
And what that tells us is that she does that all the time and she's used to it because that's what that tells us. And that also tells us how much her character lives in her mind.
yes.
But I actually find that amazing. I mean, are you actually creative a lot of times post adrenaline rush
Hmm.
maniac time?
My writing, I have always done it since a young age. I've done it to relax. It calms me down and helps me relax. So I would say probably yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. All fueled up.
Love it.
Kevin, comments?
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, two of my favorite shows are Forensic Files and SVU, Law and Order. And I really feel like I'm kind of on a Law and Order episode because we've got the cop, we've got the attorney, we've got the comedic relief.
Is
So
that me?
there's you, and then you got, I don't know where I fit in. Maybe I'm the psychologist, the self-help guy, you know.
You're the
It's like,
runner.
you guys
You're
really
the
have some big
exercise
problems.
guru.
That's right. Yeah.
You're the
Well, don't
you're
tell
the
me.
fitness guru.
I'm not, that was one of my limiting beliefs. I never wanted to be that self-adulating gallon drinking douchebag that skips out on a glass of wine. And that's what I had to get over to get through this. Anyway, um,
Well, as long as you're not the victim, you're probably
that's
okay.
true. That's true. But
But
what I
at
love
this,
about yours is when you have that inspiration and you go home and you write, it's similar to like when I talked about being on a walk and I come home, and then radio red you
yeah,
brought up
fine.
tools and like back in the day, yeah, we Googled stuff and now
Yeah.
we've got AI. So if we have something that's on our mind, we can come home and I don't know about anybody else, but I like to flip back and forth between Chat GPT, who, by the way, I'm always nice to because you never know if they do take away all over the world, they'll remember the guy who always said thank you, which I just read cost those companies millions of dollars a
I
year.
know, but I still say please and thank you. And
I know, me too.
mine is
So
French, and I send her kisses, and I say bisous,
yeah,
bisous,
exactly.
merci. So I'm always
You
nice
and
to
I
her.
are safe. Everybody else, I
Yeah,
would work
I
on
don't
that.
know about
Anywho,
that.
but yeah, you can come
I'm
home
dead.
and hash out those ideas so they can go in your book. So if there's any aspiring writers, I love what you just went through. But I think, what do you do when it comes to you on the road? And then how do you get it on paper? Because I know you're a paper person. You had that happen a couple of times, but what do you use to
Yeah,
capture it like on the road? I call them satellites. Like, what do you have, whether it's your phone or a little mini notebook? What do you do to capture those ideas and get them down?
Melanie.
If I'm driving, I will just like record on my phone. Just I have a recorder that I can just hit record and then I can just start talking. And then I can take that when I get home. Those will give me my little reminders of what I was thinking. And then I go home and just sit down and write.
And this is a perfect place for me to insert another statement from Kevin, because I was saving this one, Kevin. And I'm just going to introduce this. I think you'll know it's your statement number 4. And you said, creativity is the collision between frustration, curiosity, and the belief that there's always a better way. I thought that was very interesting. And before you say anything, Melanie was nodding. Melanie, did this hit you in any way? Frustration, curiosity in a better way?
Does the so I used to write a lot when I was young growing up, and then I stopped when I started going to school because, term papers and all of that. And then when I was at the sheriff's office, I've retired actually now, but that was so busy with work, 40 hours a week plus all my call outs and all of that. So I wasn't writing. And what actually prompted me to start writing for fun again is finding a better way. I kept trying to read books and I just didn't like them. And I had a whole bunch that I did not finish, which was unusual for me because I hate to do that. And so that prompted my creativity is, well, if I was writing this story, I would go in this way. Or if I was doing this, I'd go in this way. And it really just prompted me, motivated me to sit down and start writing again.
Kevin, that was your statement. What do you think? You want to add to it?
Yeah. Well, it made me think of another quote, a little off script, but
That's all right.
what you made me think of is change really occurs when the pain of staying the same becomes less than the pain of change.
Mm.
And that I learned from my business partner, Eric Sorensen, who's a great guy and a good friend of mine and has helped me a lot. And we help together, we help a lot of people. But yeah, that's a big quote. I think it has to sink in for people because it took me a little
Yeah.
bit to realize that. So
Yep.
that's really that's probably the core message I'd like everybody to listen to today, what I
Thank
just
you.
said.
Russell, any thoughts about that? The frustration, the curiosity? What do you think?
You asked the question, you asked Kevin the question that I would have asked, because what I was going to ask him is to explain that a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think that, well, give me a second to think. I guess where I used to think that balance was something that's very important. And I've learned over the years that I've become a lifestyle entrepreneur. I don't separate work and life. I combine them because I love it. One
Mm-hmm.
example that I have is I was trying to figure out a way to get my steps in, but have some fun and maybe make a little money on the side too. So I came up with this concept called Treadmill Time with Kevin. It's a coaching program. And the only way that I let people ask questions is if they're on the treadmill with me, not running. Want to be safe. My attorney's freaking out, by the way, because he's like, I don't know, this is a bad idea. I mean, somebody's going to fall and sue you. And I'm like, well, if they sue me, at least they're walking and we'll figure it out.
And
So that's just an
Notify your
example.
liability insurance.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm finding that when other people get moving, all of a sudden they start figuring, then I really become a coach because I think the difference between a coach and a consultant, consultants come in and tell you what you already know, and then they charge you a great amount of money and they're not really that effective. But a coach asks questions. And sometimes I'll just ask a question, watch somebody think. Like my favorite way to start off a coaching call now is not to say, how are you doing? I say, what's going well? And they were perfectly ready to
oh,
complain and it's always the same thing. They'll be walking and be like, "Oh, what's going well? Should I? Oh, excuse me. I got to think
that's
about
okay.
that one for a minute." So that's one takeaway. If you're in a service business or you're just talking to people, watch what happens. Because we had a
What's going on?
podcast guest recently said, "I don't think you realize how brilliant that is." I'm like, "Thank you very much." But she goes, "When you do that, you activate parts of your brain that make people feel better."
That's
So
an interesting point, and I'm going to jump in here for a second, Kevin. I have a friend named Judy Katz who is a writer, and she's a ghost writer, and she makes a comment that she's higher priced because do you want the Mercedes or do you want the beat up Volkswagen, whatever. But the point is that she came up with in one of her newsletters, very charming writer, by the way, and one of her newsletters or her emails, she said she was once that person who was at a wedding at a table with people she didn't know, or she was at a party with people she didn't know. And she thought, how am I going to get onto the radar of these people? What am I going to do? And instead of sitting there saying, I feel sorry for myself, nobody likes me, nobody wants to talk to me, I'm the odd person out, why did they invite me? I wish I could go home. How far is the bathroom? Can I have another glass of champagne, please? Instead of all that, she simply looked at the woman next to her and she said, what's new? What's going on with you? Like she already knew the person. And all of a sudden, this woman is talking to her and she's telling her what's new. It's like she knew her all along. And then the woman said, by the way, what's your name? And can I have your phone number and your email address?
yeah,
And it worked. Kevin, that reminded me of what you just said. It's What's going well with you? Isn't it interesting? I think we got a kind of a therapy session going here.
Yeah, no, I
This is
love it. The other
this
one I
is
like is the second question I always ask is what are you working on that's exciting right now?
very,
Instead of what do
very,
you do, I stopped asking what are you doing for a living because it's like, boring. But what are you working
very,
on that's exciting right now? It's really fascinating to hear what
yeah.
people say. Oh, I'm going paragliding in Uruguay next week, or I'm going to start underwater basket weaving. I'm
Or
totally joking.
I've just
That never happened.
transplanted three little stalks of coleus plants that I took cuttings from someplace I wasn't supposed to and put them in water, and they have little roots on them, and I'm hoping they grow. You too, Russell?
I do that stuff too. It's terrible that we do that, but
Oh, I
I
think
do
it's
that too.
wonderful. I think it's wonderful. I used to, when I lived in Durham, North Carolina, I went to a spa and hairdresser place, and 3 times a week I would have massages upstairs, and then the fourth time it was red day. And they when this it was outside walkway outside these stores. It was like an open mall basically, and they had coleus plants growing from the landscaping there, Russell, that were literally 8 feet tall. I mean, the biggest damn play. They were like trees. And so I'd bring a little baggie with little tiny scissors and a little piece of paper towel with water on it. And I'd leave it in my purse. And when I was done with whatever I was doing at the spa, I'd walk over and I'd just kind of quietly look around, like get the scissors on, clip, clip, clip. And I'd fill the little baggie with, and then they'd have the water inside. And then I'd drive home a half hour and they were still alive. And then I'd put them in water and root them. And that's what I did. But the trick is they change the landscaping when it gets to about October or November, and they pulled all the plants. They literally take them out. All of that gorgeousness. I don't know what they do, throw it in a landfill somewhere. So you got to get them all. And now my hair salon has smaller coleus outside, and I clip them when I go to my car. Okay, we've got about 4 minutes left. And what I'd like to do is before I do my closing, I want to read you all a poem. I'm part of an online poetry group. And if you've ever listened to the whole show, you know I usually do this by the end, but I think you'll enjoy it if you haven't heard it. So forgive me, LLL, lovely lanky Laura Legs, for repeating this again. Here we go. This is an acrostic. We get a prompt from our moderator on Writer's Digest, Robert Lee Brewer, every Wednesday morning early, and we write any kind of poetry. There are about 30 or 40 of us. It's a free site. And then during April and November, we get a prompt every day of the month. So, Melanie, I write between 3 and 5 poems a day, every day of April, every day of November. I've been doing it 3 years. So I got about 700 poems. I like acrostics. I like limericks. I break the fifth line in a limerick. It's not just a rhyme. It's a run-on sentence. It's about 3 lines long, and then it has the beat that rhymes with A, A, B, B, A. So I have a lot of fun with it. Now, so this is a night shift was the prompt. NIGHTSHIFT. And this is an acrostic. I'm going to read it and I'll try to lean in and emphasize the letter NIGHTSHIFT. So listen up. Never really quite at rest. It's the life of a creative. Going, gripping, gyrating, growling, groaning, growing, highs and lows, flowing on a mental Mobius strip. The days are the nights are the days again, shifting off and on, into and out of gear, hoping for unique brilliance even once. It's a calling, command, curse, roller coaster, finding eureka, euphoria amid frustration, fears. Thus is the life of the creative. Did I resonate with any of you?
I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. I never
Thank
get
you. Thank
I,
you.
I never get tired of reading that because it gets me excited that I had all those thoughts. And I'll give you one more. This was a write a blank like blank, BLANKLIKE blank acrostic. And I wrote this. All right, this is very short. Believe in love always. Never kiss a leprechaun in a kayak. Every boat's like a nervous kangaroo. Okay. That was one of the silly ones. I have a lot of fun. I want to thank all of you. Got about a minute and a half left. Um, I'll be in touch with all of you. Stick around afterwards because we can talk for a few minutes. I have some ideas because I'd like to invite you to do some other things with me. But I am very grateful to the three of you for sharing your creativity, your passion, your humanity, your personalities, and your love with me and my viewers and listeners. I really appreciate you. So, and Melanie and Russell, you can thank Mickey and tell them you had a really good time with Radio Red. And Kevin, I'm doing another summit in 2 weeks. So I'll
Awesome.
be inviting another 35 to 40 people on the show, and we'll see how that goes. So let me read my closing now, and let's see. And I also want to tell you there's something called oh, was it? This is David Byrne. He calls them little beginnings. We were talking about how do you catch those snippets of ideas. He said, Sometimes I have the title of a song that comes to me and I write it down and I go, expand on that. I think there's something there. And then I have a computer, on my computer, a whole lot of music ideas that have maybe a melody, a nonsense word melody, awaiting words. I usually need something to start. Hard to start from nothing. I accumulate these very little beginnings. When I come back, I have something to build on. So I'm sharing that with all of you. And let me see if I can find my proper closing here. And here we go. Here we go. Ready up. We got to go fast. Life is short. Break the rules. Yes. Forgive quickly. I'm still figuring that one out. Kiss slowly. Oh, yes. Love truly. Laugh uncontrollably. Laugh with me. 1, 2, 3. There you go. And never regret anything that made you smile. Finally, work like you don't need the money. Dance like no one's watching. They watched when I danced. Sing like nobody's listening. Love like you've never been hurt. We've all been hurt. Let your heart regrow, regroup, rejuvenate, and come back and love again. Money talks, chocolate sings, la. And last but not least, I stole this line from somebody years ago. Thank you for turning me on. Melanie, lovely to see you. Kevin, a treat. Russell, wonderful. And let's do the outro music. And here we go.
On Read My
Let me
Lips
make it
Radio,
louder.
producer and host,
Here we
aka
go.
Radio
Dance with
Red,
me.
invites you to eavesdrop on her live,
Russell,
unscripted
I wanna see those
conversations with
shoulders
smart,
move.
savvy,
I can't
creative people
dance.
as she discovers
it.
what makes them tick, where they find their inspiration, when creativity first became their passion, and how their creative process can inspire the rest of us to think
Who's
out of the
this?
box. Enjoy,
That's
aka
me.
Radio Red's always lively,
Lively,
cool
cool
conversations with
conversations.
creatives. Oh, how those lips can talk.
Thank you very much. Everybody wave goodbye. We're going to say goodbye to social, by LinkedIn, by Facebook twice.